Hey, everybody, we're here for a new episode of the show that is yet to be named. We have a special topic today, but first, let me introduce Putty from Puttyman, the Puttyman, Putty Papa, and JD, 777s, Johnny Donuts. Both of their stuff will be in the description below. Today, we're talking about good casting choices or actors that we liked that were chosen in what people consider a bad comic book movie. So throwing a wrench in the scenario, these guys think we're doing a top 5 list, but we're not. We're just going to call out random ones, talk about it for a bit, and we've decided we're probably going to do a second video because we have so many of these.
Oh, well, if that's true, then I'm just going to go straight to my number one.
All right, buddies, you could if you want. You could definitely do that. So
I'm going to rearrange my list around then.
Yeah, I think we should spend more time talking about the choices than just getting through a list, and we're going to have fun. So we'll start it off. Putty, you go first.
Well, dude, you really want me to start this off? I will start it off. Ladies and gentlemen, even though his movies became good, but his first endeavor as the character was in a movie called X-Men Origins Wolverine. Do we need to say it? It's Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on now. I mean, I actually looked it up online.
Yeah.
If you look it up online, they were actually talking about fan casting. Patrick Stewart actually in a lot of lists came up number 2 and Ryan Reynolds number 1. And it shocked me. I was like, really? I'm glad to see people agree that he fits the part of Deadpool. And when I was making this list, I was like, when you said bad, I was like, oh, but he has 2 good movies. But I'm like, oh, but he did start in a really horrible movie, so I got to put that on there.
Technically, it's not even the same character, which is why I don't even have an issue with that choice, because I do think that was a great casting and just not only a bad movie, but you effed up that character so bad.
Yes. When you make me walk out of a Marvel movie, and I'm usually pretty good, I sat through all of Morbius in this movie. I walked out of.
You picked a guy who just came off being, well, he's already was like the mouth, but you picked the mouth of the South who just finished making Blade Trinity to
Jimmy
be
Hart?
Jimmy Hart.
Come on, baby, let's do this.
But the same idea, and you picked him to be the merc with a mouth, and you didn't give him a mouth.
I know. And see, the funny thing is, when I heard he was doing it, the first thing I thought in my head, oh my God, they picked Van Wilder. And when you think of Van Wilder, he had that kind of like, he had like that Deadpool kind of.
Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's just period.
He's embraced that character,
and I'm so glad he did, because the thing is
I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, and sometimes people embrace things. It's one of those things where they embrace it and then they move on. I'm so glad that he's like, I understand that I work for this character, so I'm going to stick with it to make everyone happy. I'm like, thank you.
He is the Robert Downey Jr. He is the Patrick Stewart. He is the Hugh Jackman of like, you don't, even with James McAvoy being as good as he was, you still visualize Patrick Stewart as
to the
that
point
character.
where they brought him back.
I can't ever imagine a Deadpool that's not Ryan Reynolds.
Yep.
All right, JD, you want to throw one out there?
Sure. I'm going to go with Michael B. Jordan. Fantastic, whatever.
Fanforstic.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Fraggle Stick Car, whatever it was. Michael Jordan
is Stick Car.
Shout out to Bad Santa. But Michael B. Jordan is such a fantastic actor. And that movie just like shit the bed on all accounts. Like,
he was really good in it.
Yeah, it was just a train wreck, that movie.
Yeah.
An absolute, like, between Josh Tranks and like whatever, like it's, I don't know.
Oh my God. The stupid guy that plays the dad. Oh my God. Can't remember.
Oh, the guy he was also in House of Cards. He was the barbecue guy.
I want to call him Red Fox, but that's obviously not who it is. His name's like Red something.
Franklin something.
Michael B. Jordan is good in that movie, and you know what? I always get flack for saying it, but I love the first half of that movie. I think once they come back from the other universe, it turns into an absolute disaster.
Well, see, I would say for me, it's even a little before that. I would say basically when they had the chemistry, when they were talking like at the computer, like when they were setting things up, that's when you felt like you were actually doing exactly what the Fantastic Four needed. But then it just misses the mark. It felt like exactly how the creative process was of the movie itself. It was like, oh, we got this all intact, we're doing good, and they're like, we don't give a shit no more. And it just went downhill.
I felt the casting, like, not in terms of Michael B. Jordan, but the terms of casting, who they cast for Reed Richards and who they cast for Ben Grimm. I felt those characters were
Jamie Bell and Miles Teller.
Yes, they were too young. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Need like.
But the thing
when Mara, Rooney Mara, was it no? What's her
Rooney,
name? Was it
Kate
no?
Mara.
The other Kate Mara, her sister. When she's older than Reed Richards, right?
Well,
when the actor who plays,
wait, she was picked out of nepotism. They forced Fox to pick her.
Well, that's also the thing where if you go back to the other one with Jessica Alba and I can't think of his name, of course, Chris Evans. You look at those, they did the whole thing with the younger brother, Johnny Storm, older sister, Sue Storm. And then you had the whole thing that we worked with Reed Richards. The problem is you didn't have that same vibe. Everyone seemed way too young to like Michael B. Jordan seemed older than the other two. You know what I mean? Like it didn't fit the balance of how it is. You got to have Johnny Storm be the younger brother to these.
He's got to be the young hotshot. Yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't feel like,
even though he was and that's why I picked him, because he was the best thing about that movie.
Okay. So let me come in on this one here and I'll continue this conversation because Michael Chiklis as the Thing.
Yes,
that was on my list. Yes.
Michael Chiklis as the Thing. I think he was fantastic.
That was perfect.
He played the role perfectly. That grizzled New Yorker, like he's the commish covered in stone, basically.
Yeah.
But that's what Ben Grimm was. He was that whole, and I loved it when they did the hat and everything. When he had the hat,
trench
and
coat and the hat, like that killed me. Like that was
the next best thing to Bagman.
I agree, and it worked out. It looked so good when they did it. Like it felt like it was ripped from the comic books. I remember still having that action figure when they had the cartoon, and I literally had that figure with me.
I also have it. I don't know if I still have it at home, but that was my favorite action figure. Was the Thing. It just looked so cool.
Yeah.
I have the new one. It's a vintage one, but let's go, Putty. Give me one.
Okay, so another one, and I'm glad it wasn't brought up because I wanted to bring it up. I'm happy it was later on my list, but that is Anya Taylor-Joy as Magic.
Okay, thank you, because that.
Oh
finally,
my god!
And that finally lets me delete one off my list to shorten this thing. But yes, she was fantastic.
God, she was perfect as Magic. She even looked like Magic. The only thing is, I wish MCU would take it so we could actually have I'm forgetting his name, the dragon. I'm forgetting the dragon's name.
Fang Fu?
No, her. Wait, yeah, that's again.
You're talking about her dragon that she has.
Her dragon.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
I forgot his name now. But like, I loved how they did. I hated how they did the stuffed animal and made it like it was a psychosis. I'm like, no, I wanted that to be there because I could see her perfectly because of her acting talent that she could act a part of something like that and make it look real. Shit, like again, the reason is because stuff like Queen's Gambit, we talked about her in Note to Listen and everything, but because of like stuff like Queen's Gambit, she's a phenomenal
You can fan cast her in so many roles. She could be Silver Sable or Black Cat. She would be perfect for both of them.
I think she'd do a fantastic Silver Sable.
I agree, but see again, Magic, the way Magic looks in the comic book, everything down to the eyes. Just when I saw it,
no, she does that perfectly. Her accent is good. She handles the action well. She, like I said, she's on my list of best actresses, which if you've seen it, and she's there for a reason. I literally cannot get enough of her. She is right. She's the next Meryl Streep, in my opinion. She has done zero. She's been in so many bad movies, and she's the best part of every one of those movies.
Yeah. Well, you got to start somewhere. So
yeah, exactly.
She's done nothing wrong.
And see, the funny thing is, New Mutants is considered one of the worst ones. And I think I like New Mutants. I actually liked it. Yeah, I actually went and like grabbed it and everything. Like I love New Mutants. It was actually good. And with its production problems it had in the past and everything, like I was surprised it was actually like good, but it still got low ratings. Because
surprisingly, if you see my huge list of which we'll do it one day, but ranking all the Fox movies.
We kind of did that with the
pretty
tier
high
list,
up.
But
New Mutants is pretty high up, but I think it is what it is, and Okay, JD, yeah.
Michael Clark Duncan, Kingpin, Daredevil.
Damn it, that's on my
list.
That's on my list too.
if we were doing a top 5 that I lied to you guys about, he was on my list.
Everyone talks about what's his name in the Daredevil series, which I don't get me wrong, he is a great Kingpin.
Yes, but he's a great Kingpin in a great Daredevil series. Which this is not what this is about.
Yeah, I know.
He was a great Kingpin in a really bad Daredevil movie.
Oh man,
and he looks the freaking part. He's so
a big,
massive.
Imposing dude.
Holy crap!
But then apparently he was like this gentle giant in real life.
Yeah, he's one of the most underappreciated actors of all time. Like his thing in
Green Mile. Oh my god! Every time they put him in the chair, like I start to cry. This cornbread is for me, Mr. Jangles.
Oh my god.
He's my favorite mouse, by the way. Shout out to Mr. Jangles.
Shout out to Mr. Jangles.
I mean, every single not even just the chair. There's
Edward Delacroix.
Where like when he takes the pain away and everything, he's like, I'm tired and everything. Like you're like, oh man, stop making me cry. The movie theater scene, when he's seeing a movie for the first time and his eyes light up. Oh, man,
we're all starting to cry now,
dude. Michael Clark.
No, it's such like we could do a whole episode on the Green Mile. It's such a
Michael Clark Duncan is great.
Away.
Yeah,
he died so too early. Like
it was a big shock when he did pass away. But yeah, it was a really bad movie. But like even the whole thing with the red rose, like that's Kingpin's signature. Like he had the character down. It was just such a bad
listen, and this is the thing. You race swapped him and you don't even notice it. It's not even about caring. You don't even notice it because he looks such the part and plays it exactly like you think it would that you don't even notice it, let alone what your feelings on it are. I don't even care.
By the way, I'm going to give a hint.
Perfect casting for the right role.
I just want to say this to Marvel and DC. I'm going to give you guys a hint. Never, ever have two characters in a playground doing some stupid dance about their abilities. Because you remember Catwoman and literally Daredevil did basically the same fucking thing, but one was basketball and one was on tier, like seesaw.
But the director's cut of that Daredevil is far, far, far better, where it pulls so much more from the Kevin Smith script rather than the actual script. The Kevin Smith had his hands in a lot of comic book movies: Green Hornet, Green Lantern, Daredevil, the possible Superman Returns movie, and it would have been great to see him do it because that's what he does very well, and it sucks that he didn't. But Mark Strong, Sinestro.
Yep, that was on my list. That was definitely on my list.
Yeah,
so good. He was like, I could not imagine a better casting for that role.
It's funny you say that.
He did a fantastic job in Shazam too.
Yeah, he did.
See, it's funny you say that because I actually forgot, and it's not because of him, but that movie was so bad and so over.
I actually like Green Lantern. Really? I don't think it's a good movie. See, this is where a lot of people differ.
It's not a good movie, but it's a fun movie.
I like it. I saw it in theaters the first day. We had advanced tickets, special tickets my buddy had.
It was just
and he called me. He's like, let's go watch Green Lantern. I'm like, how? It's not until next week. I got tickets. And we went to watch it. And I was like, this is awesome. Blake Lively's so hot. And then I was like, and then when I got the Blu-ray, I was like, bro, this movie sucks.
I bought the Blu-ray just so I can unlock the Batman Sinestro corpse skin. Just so I can unlock the Batman skin for Arkham.
And I have it, and I didn't even use it. But yeah, I think he was a great casting in that role. And there's a lot of things that movie had going right. They didn't come together.
Yeah.
Bad villain. Bad freaking choice of villain.
Agree.
You had Sinestro. And you used friggin' Cloud Boy. Okay, Putty, go ahead.
Heck, let's keep it on the DC rant. And since it was one of my top ones, it's going to come eventually. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. We might as well get it out of the way. Because the thing is it's funny. It's funny. This is the funny thing I want to say about this. It's funny how in Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, those were horrible movies that had a great Harley Quinn. Then we get the Suicide Squad, a good movie with a shoehorned Harley Quinn. And I'm like, we got a better Harley Quinn in the other two bad movies, but then a bad Harley Quinn in my eyes in the good movie. Like, what are you doing, DC?
So,
you got,
I'm not going to be like, no, you can't have this on this list. But to me, Suicide Squad, that's fine, but I think Birds of Prey is actually a decent movie. It's actually I would call it good. I would call it good, but it's not
I had
special.
a good time with it.
It's like a 7 out of 10, and the new Suicide Squad is amazing.
Yeah.
Even though she is shoehorned in, she still plays the role really well.
Well, yeah,
she just has nothing to work with.
Exactly.
But I agree with you. I think it's still fair to have it on this list because a lot of people don't like those first two movies. And her role is so diminished in the new Suicide Squad that it doesn't really count.
Yeah.
So.
That's a fair one. I think that's fair.
All right. I am going to go Kelsey Grammer, X-Men 3.
All right,
Beast.
good.
Oh my!
Finally, deleting some stuff off my list. You guys got to help me and make this list smaller.
He is so.
He was the perfect casting for Beast. Like when people were talking about X-Men movies and who would you fantasy cast, Kelsey Grammer was at the top of everyone's list.
It's literally
Frasier.
prime casting.
Yeah. He's literally playing Blue Frasier.
He is Frasier. If they could get Blue Niles, I'd be even more on board.
Can you imagine if David Hyde Pierce played Nightcrawler with Kelsey Grammer?
He did play a fish man in another movie.
Yes, he did. But still, like that would have been amazing. But like Kelsey Grammer played that to a T. Like his mannerisms, it reminded me so much of the Beast from the cartoons.
Yeah.
And and you could see the influence there from Kelsey Grammer from the cartoons, but like X3 was such a bad X-Men film. Like they did Dark Phoenix dirty in that movie.
Oh, 100%.
They almost did it dirty 2 times.
Yeah.
The second one is fine.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Right?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Okay.
Terrible.
So speaking of bad casting, let's talk about what's that guy's name? Vinny whatever as the Juggernaut? No, okay.
Vinny Testaverde? No.
Oh no.
Vinny Jones.
Yeah, Vinny Jones. Okay, so I'm gonna put one out there. I hope Putty doesn't have this because I want to not take away so much from your guys' lists. But John Leguizamo as Violator or
Fuck. See, you did.
Yeah, that was on my list too.
That he's so freaking good.
He was such a great. He was so perfect as clown. I still hear him saying "Spotty, Spotty."
It's so crazy how good he was in that role.
Yeah,
and it should not have worked.
You would never imagine it. And see, the thing is, the funny thing is, if he could have done it now with the special effects, doing the transformation to Violator, and then the fan casting, who I said before, what's his name? Like I see that all just being such good chemistry that would finally
Christopher
work.
Judge.
Yeah, like putting Christopher Judge.
He's like,
in that
I
role.
want that 70-year-old man as my Spawn.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying him then doing the vibe, like, I will kill you, Cloud. Hearing him say that to John Leguizamo, like him making fun of him would just.
Yeah, that would be good. Okay, Putty, give us one.
Okay, so this is where this is kind of hard.
Is this your fourth one?
This would be 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fifth one, I think. I lost count now.
2, 3.
No, this would be fourth, I guess.
Yeah, I think I only did 3
because I've done 3.
Okay, all right. So this one is was on my list, and the thing is I'm a little bit strong. I just like this is more visually. Okay, maybe the acting might not for somebody because he seems like he's such a nice little guy, but for me, I felt David Harbour as Hellboy was a perfect casting, but the movie itself was horrible.
Yeah,
like Ron Perlman is
crazy
better. But...
How good the first, like I won't say they're amazing, but like in the comparison to the first 2 movies, it's so dog shit.
Yeah.
Like,
but then when I heard the casting, I'm like, oh my god! If you're gonna replace anybody from like Ron Perlman to play Hellboy, David Harbour.
So much of
perfect.
that casting was Mila Jovovich. I was like, oh my god, this is perfect.
Yeah,
and
but then you watch
not.
it, and you're like, what?
She was really bad in it too.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, and there's so many things that were there was some charming things in that was like excited to see from the comic book, but it still was like
you guys got to help me out here. You got to delete some things off my list.
Let's see if we can get into it. Let's see if I get into my next one. My next one is Tim Roth as Abomination in Incredible Hulk.
Okay, so wait, I'm going to double up with you then, and I'm going to say Tim Blake Nelson as the leader, possibly in the Hulk.
Yes.
Okay, so we're both in this together in the same one because
absolutely.
I honestly think Tim
Roth
was
let's
amazing.
throw in Thunderbolt Ross too.
Yeah.
William Hurt.
Yeah,
that would
William Hurt. Yeah. Yeah.
But see, I'm gonna say this though. I actually liked Incredible Hulk. I didn't really think
I
it
do
was a
too.
bad
I
film.
don't think it's one of the worst ones, but
No.
but this is based on the ratings of what the general public think, and I think Tim Roth is so good in that role, especially when he's not Abomination.
When he's the human,
when he's like he wants the power so bad, when he gets that little taste of it,
he will do anything.
When he's fighting him in the field, that was dope. But I think
and it's a good thing they brought him back in Shang-Chi.
It's good. I'm glad that they did, and I'm glad they stuck with him. But I think Tim Blake Nelson would have been a great deleter.
I agree. Like what happened? They had it set up. They had it set up too, and then they just
and
it doesn't exist.
He had that little angle going of like a goofy kind of like really smart guy that's kind of like just strange, like a strange person. And I don't know. I was feeling that. I was totally feeling that.
Yeah, he was. There's a lot of good aspects from that they, and like I said, they carried on with the Thunderbolt Ross, and they carried on with now they carried on with Abomination. So maybe never know. But I mean, Marvel, the MCU doesn't own the rights to the Hulk, right? They can only put the Hulk in an ensemble, right?
Universal owns it.
Okay,
it's the same deal as basically Spider-Man.
Yeah. They just they're more loose about it because they just like
they're not Universal doesn't want to make any of the movies. They're just
exactly.
You can pay us and use the character. But
exactly.
they get all the money from the toy sales and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is just so messed up. I just want one company to own Marvel.
Sold all their rights like a bunch of idiots.
Well, they were going bankrupt. I understand. They were finally, but again, it still sucks that happened because now we're not going to be able. Because it's funny how DC has owned Warner Bros. Owns everything of DC. And they don't know what they're doing with a lot of them. And then Marvel doesn't own everything, but they know what they're doing. Does that make sense?
I'm kind of happy because Discovery has walked into Warner Brothers and been like, we're shutting down DC and we're starting it up again our own way.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I'm going to say this right now. I feel bad for DC. Think about this. What's his name? Ezra. I can't think of his name. Ezra Miller. Then they're having the situation, which it's not really his fault, but Johnny Depp in his situation, and that would be.
But yet Warner Brothers gets rid of Johnny Depp and keeps the two criminals.
And they keep Amber Heard, the one that's actually the criminal that's actually still in Aquaman. It's like, what are you guys doing? And it's like everything is a train wreck. Like they're having to bring back, of course, what's his name as Batman to fix things. And now they can't even fix things because Ezra Miller just screwing up so badly. It's like I feel like
I'm just gonna say it. Ezra Miller is a huge piece of shit, and I don't care what. At first, I was like, maybe you need this guy needs help. You need to work with him. No, man, screw you. Kick him out of Hollywood. I'm done with him.
Yep.
But that affects another franchise too because he's also in that Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts,
which is still connected to the whole thing with Johnny Depp, and they still fired the wrong freaking person. Like, what are you doing, DC? You're messing up so badly.
Warner Brothers in general, yeah.
Well, Warner Brothers, yeah, but that's my whole point. Warner Brothers is messing up so much, but they own everything of DC, while Marvel over here is trying to negotiate with other companies that own Marvel stuff, and are still doing it better. Like, dude, fix your shit. You know what I mean? Like, figure out what you're doing.
It's more of a visionary thing. You put the wrong people in charge. Jeff Johns was like coked out to the max, and Zack Snyder should never be in charge of anything.
No.
So that was their own fault.
It brings up
people. They put the wrong people in charge.
It's just so weird how you see the two. You see the House of Mouse and the House of Rabbit, and the Rabbit is just like, dude, we're messing up over here.
Hey, Rabbit Boy, are you gonna give us one?
Yeah. Okay. So I decided to go off my list because I had one in there, but I think I'm gonna just save that for another time. You had brought it up earlier, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, and a lot of people aren't gonna know, so I'm gonna just knock it out now. And that's Lori Petty as Tank Girl. Yes. I just had to put that out there because for a lot of people, they don't know who Tank Girl is. And it's understandable. It's kind of like the whole Judge Dredd thing where it's one of those very, very obscure characters that no one watched, but a lot of younger people in the 90s read the comic books. And it was one of the things when you read the comic, you think you see Lori Petty. And it was just a bad movie, but she pulled off the role for herself perfectly. It was just a bad movie. And again, at the same time, look who else was casted in that. What's his name from
the Kangaroos?
It was not the King, not Ice-T, but I'm talking. What's his name from A Clockwork Orange?
Malcolm McDowell.
Yes, you got
one of the McDowells.
Yeah, you have Malcolm McDowell in this movie, and it's still this bad. Like, That happens a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I had to bring that up. So
that's a good choice.
Yeah.
I actually like Tank Girl. Maybe not as much as you do, but
well,
it's a fun, stupid comic book movie, and I like it.
I agree. Yep.
All right. I got Ray Stevenson as the Punisher.
Okay, good. I could delete that. Yes, that's a good choice. I think he's the best choice for the Punisher. I like what John Bernthal did, and has done, and hopefully will keep doing. But to me, I still think he feels much bigger, does he not?
Yeah.
Like he's so much more imposing, and his attitude was so much more. I'm just gonna murder your whole family.
Yeah. Which is who the Punisher is. Like
exactly.
It's just literally a psychopath. So I Ray Stevenson, he was like, when they cast him to replace Thomas Jane, I was like, okay, maybe they can go and wasn't, I think that was the same one with John Travolta too, right?
No, that Thomas Jane was John Travolta.
Thomas Jane was John Travolta.
And see, Punisher Warzone, the one thing I loved about that movie was you see the lightheartedness of the kid with him, but man, that was the most grisliest version of Punisher we ever got.
That movie is dope, man. It understood the Punisher like so well.
And
but in the eyes of critics, that movie tanked. That movie was a bomb.
Yeah, because it's kind of just a dumb movie, but
yeah.
Like he goes full raid in the end. He gets to that building and he goes all the way up to the top of the tower.
It literally felt like you were playing like that Punisher video game, right?
Yeah.
Like it was.
It's
it's
a good movie.
Ray Stevenson, like he's a big dude too. It's not like he's a small guy, and I think Ray Stevenson deserves to be on this list too,
for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go putty ways, and I'm gonna go off the books. Alec Baldwin as the Shadow, pre-shooting.
Oh my god!
Nice.
I love the Shadow. I've probably talked about this before, but I think it's one of the most fun, like pulpy movies they've ever made, and it's a character that has so much. He's such a huge backlog of comics in the same level of like a Green Hornet or a Batman, and the fact that they don't want to use this character doesn't make sense to me. Alec Baldwin was so good in that.
It's funny you see that. I still have the slogan in my head where like no one knows, the Shadow knows.
The Shadow knows.
It's a really fun movie, and it's just of its time. The type of things like the faces changing and stuff. It wasn't, it didn't have that.
So because you said that, when I get to mine, I'm going to change my next one.
Okay, I already know what you're going to pick, but we'll go one more round here.
Because that was going to be on my list no matter what. So
we're going one more round.
One more round.
All right, I'm gonna make this really weird for us. Okay, I put this on my list as a joke because he looks like him, but he's the most horrible actor out there. But let's just throw it out there. He played John Henry Irons, aka Steel, Shaquille O'Neal. It's know he's a horrible actor. It's such a good casting, though. Like when I first heard about that,
I was make a free throw.
Oh, yeah, as long as it's not
Shazam, whatever.
Wait, which one is it? Kazam? Yeah, it was Kazam.
Shazam is the fake movie with
the fake movie. Exactly.
And Kazaa was the downloading service back in the day.
That movie was horrible. He's a horrible actor, but he looks like Steel. That's just the down thing. And I remember having that action figure that actually had like where he had the axe and he's swinging out his arm. I literally sat in theater going, I can't believe I'm going to see Shaquille O'Neal as Steel. And then I was like, this was horrible.
I'm seeing Shaquille O'Neal as Steel.
It was the same reaction, just with sad.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I agree with that. So my next one, because I was going to save it for later, but I'm going to say it because you said Alec Baldwin as the Shadow. I'm going Billy Zane as the Phantom.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to pick. And I freaking love it.
And you were I actually used to read their little Sunday comics of the Phantom, and when I saw that, but see, that's another one. If that's a bad movie, in my eyes, when I was a teenager, that was amazing freaking movie.
That was fun. Like the Rocketeer. I love the Rocketeer. Bad movie.
Rocketeer's good. Rocketeer's actually good.
It made the comic strip way more enjoyable than it actually is. That's the funny part.
So I threw you for a loop, Campo. Billy Zane as the Phantom.
I'm not even gonna. I'll just say I was expecting you to say Liam Neeson in Darkman.
That is on my list, but I thought Phantom
we
Shadow.
won't
same
talk about
idea.
that. Well, since it's on your list, we'll save that one. But okay, I'll throw my last one here. I really don't want to take away things from other people's lists, but Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy.
God fucking damn it. Come on.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Just fantastic. And she's arguably the best part of that whole movie.
She's the only good part of the movie. Like everything. When I went into that movie, Uma Thurman already was a good actress in my eyes, and we've seen her like Pulp Fiction, things of that nature. And like I was so excited to see that she had Bane under control. But I'm thinking more Bane was just not stupid. He was just, and then we got the stupid version of Bane. We got the stupid camp Mr. Freeze. Batgirl was horrible. Like, first off, Batgirl was not even the casting, literally alone. Batgirl being related to Alfred was like every single thing about that movie was just legitimately horrible. That no matter how bad Uma Thurman would have been bad in that role, she would have been still the best part of that role.
Yeah,
that's how bad that movie is. So, I love it.
If anyone wants to see a really good Uma Thurman movie, go watch Gattaca with her and Ethan Hawke. That's where they meet and have a baby named whatever her name is, Maya Hawke from Stranger Things. So I mean, we'll stop here. We could definitely do another episode. I still have 11 more, and I mean, this was fun actually. So guys, thank you for watching. Let us know your favorite good choice, bad movie, good time. Okay, bye.